Aquarius, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation. In these weekly videos, I review the major planetary aspects and transits and how they impact your natal sun and what that means for your bottom line. To understand this video, all you need to know is your birth date. Everything else I'm going to translate for you. We're going to start off really broad with the charts for the week, sort of the global energies and goings on, and then I'm going to focus that down into Capricorn specific energy, and then we'll break everything down into the 3 decans or groups of 10 degrees of Capricorn so that I can understand exactly how your natal sun, based on your birth date, is being aspected, because you'll see that not all Capricorns are going to be impacted the same way. This is for the week of September 13th through the 19th of 2023. We're going to start off with the big stuff. The big stuff is, first and foremost, actually really interesting and kind of tranquilizing energy. Let's go over it. We have a grand Earth trine all week long because the sun has slipped into the last decan or group of 10 degrees of Virgo. The sun is actually moving between, I think, 21 degrees and 26 degrees of Virgo this week. So that's in the last decan of Virgo. So what's in the last decan of Capricorn? Pluto at 28 degrees. And what's in the last decan of Taurus? Uranus at 22 degrees. So we have, because of the sun's current placement for this week, a grand Earth trine. Now, what do trines do? Trines relax things. They harmonize things. They make things easier. Sometimes they can be associated with the more negative implications of laziness or slack. But I think overall, when it comes to Earth, it's the most difficult to make ease in because it's the most solid. So a grand Earth trine, especially involving Pluto and Uranus, is prepping us to ease up just enough to let change happen. Now the sun, while this is occurring, is in direct opposition to Neptune. So there can be some self-deception involved, or pointing out where the self-deception has been, what has kept us from our purpose, what has kept us from our full potential. There's also an easement in that there could be people now more open to seeing what they've never seen or seen in you before, or opportunities coming where they weren't before. Now, this could also collapse on us a little bit because we may be giving somebody too much slack, or we may be easing up so much based on fantasy, not reality, that we're more likely to be duped. To be swindled. So there's definitely things that you kind of have to be vigilant for, but I don't think that that's actually what's happening. I really do believe, because Pluto and Uranus are two very, very dynamic energies, and they rule change. Dynamic and permanent change, because Pluto doesn't do anything a little bit. No. It's metamorphosis. That's what Pluto is. Pluto is permanent change, and Uranus is innovative change. So what does the sun slipping into that little trine have anything to do, where does it fit in? Well, the sun represents the individual. The self represents the ego, the self. So there is permanent and innovative changes that are going to be happening this week because of this grand trine, to you personally, to yourself, to the way that you see yourself as well. You could even reach this out globally. Technologically, there could be a huge breakthrough, or a life-changing, humankind changing perspective on the human being that is both innovative and permanent. Now, in opposition to Neptune, this could also mean it was way outside the box. Nobody could ever see this coming or would have ever expected it, and it could have been very well disguised. I think it's a little bit more personal, though, because I like to look at the person themselves, and I think that really this is changes that are happening to us because of an easement that allows us to see where we've been self-deceiving. Whether that means coming to grips with the fact that we have, in fact, overestimated our capabilities or whether we're underestimating our capabilities and just don't feel like we have any capability of fighting it. This is a sense of a real dynamic change to the person, the self. When the moon comes out, the moon is always there, right? But the new moon comes on September 14th. So that's the moon conjunct the sun in this grand trine. So the new moon, and what do new moons represent? A new beginning. And since it is in the sign of Virgo, this is a new construction, a new long-term commitment, what is the new self that we are going to start nurturing on the new moon? What is that seed that we're planting to cultivate this dynamic change in us? I don't even want to say change because I think that's too light a word. Metamorphosis. It's like leveling up. And there's so many other beautiful things that are happening during the new moon. We have Venus creating a lot of really optimistic energy, really passionate and happy energy. Venus all week long is square to Jupiter, trine to Chiron, and that's what I really love that one. And then a sextile to Mars. Now, sextile to Mars, Venus sextile to Mars is sexy. That's some sexy shit. But square to Jupiter is more about indulging and enjoying life. It's joie de vivre. Now, that could get negative too, because it could get over-indulgent, over-decadent. But I think this is learning how to enjoy everything on a new level, a new standard system, a new standardization, not standardization, new set of standards. That's what I'm looking for. It's like you're learning to enjoy life based on a new set of standards because Venus is trying to Chiron of shit you've been through. Learning lessons the hard way. It changed you. It is a different you. So, of course, you're going to view this differently. Remember, Pluto is also square the nodes. That means there's a dynamic change or shift in us, in humankind in general, shifting more toward what we used to feel less comfortable with. Changing to activate a more active way of being, active way of interacting with our world instead of just allowing and slacking off and letting it be. More personal responsibility, more maturity, more growth. Now, a complication is a little bit here of Saturn in opposition to Mercury. But it's not going to last all week. It's going to be gone by the 17th, 16th, 17th. That Mercury will slide out of that opposition. So Mercury opposite Saturn is about repressed speech, repressed thoughts, repressed ideas, repressed information that's been disallowed, not being heard, or not having authority over your own mind. Though that would be more conjunct the sun. But Mercury goes out of retrograde. It goes direct on the 15th. So the day after this new moon, all of a sudden, our tongues are untied. All of a sudden, we can start thinking again and thinking forward. And Mercury does like to move when it's going direct. It's actually pretty stationary this week. It's only going to be at 8 degrees of Virgo all week long. But ultimately, and I just thought of this in a conversation with my sister, Mercury in Virgo can be a lot of medical information as well. Can be very medical. So Mercury retrograde, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people had some health issues come up over this retrograde. But now that we're going direct, it could be either we're getting the information that we're needing, we see things in the way that we need to see them, information's finally coming through. Interestingly enough, right after that new moon, this dynamic change in the self. So overall, an exceptionally interesting week, to say the least. Now let's get into Aquarius specific information. If I don't write it down, I don't get it in here. You know that. So let's talk about your ruling dignitaries and what's going on in Aquarius itself. Let's start with Aquarius because it's real easy. There's nothing going on in Aquarius. Zero. Or there may be, but not in terms of major. Nothing major happening in Aquarius. Saturn is pretty active. It's at 2 degrees Pisces. It's staying there all week long because it's not retrograding as fast as it was, because it will post stationary soon enough and it will be going direct I don't know, within the next month or so. So it's not like it's like in its prime retrograde anymore, but it's still retrograde. So we have Saturn holding steady at 2 degrees Pisces. Saturn is in opposition to Mercury, which goes direct on the 15th, and it's in opposition to Mercury through the 17th. And then we have a semi-square to Chiron, which is long term. It's going to be there all year. What does that mean? Extra hard on yourself? Extra feelings of sort of hopelessness, like everything's always going to be too hard. I'm never going to be good enough. It's that kind of energy. But maybe there's something wrong there. There's something like why can nobody ever reach the bars? Why have the bars been set that high? Is it standards or oppression? Because I think a subverted way of oppressing people is to raise the bar so high nobody's ever going to be able to reach it, to secure your grip on whatever's above it. Do you know what I'm saying? So it can be calling that dynamic out too. And then by the 18th, Saturn is going to be a sesquiquadrate quadrate to Mars. I mention that because they're two malefic energies, and when they square off in any way, there can be a lot of tension created, and also a lot of battle, like real hot-tempered, angry, pugilistic, and aggressively oppositional energy. So I'm wondering if, especially globally, we won't see an uptick in some disputes or, that would be interesting to keep an eye on. So that's Saturn, and Saturn is your traditional ruler, Aquarius. But where's your modern ruler, your primary ruler right now? That's Uranus. And Uranus is actually in a pretty fun position. So let's talk about Uranus for a while. Uranus is 22 degrees Taurus. So it hasn't moved much. It is in retrograde now, but still hasn't moved much. It is trine to the sun, so that is us embracing and getting comfortable with our sense of individuality and dynamic personality. And then we have Uranus trine to Pluto. Now that's going to be long term, and I'll tell you, what did I say? Uranus trine Pluto, that is permanent, innovative change. So over the next couple of years, there's going to be major innovations that are going to permanently change what this planet is, what humanity is on it. We also have that sextile to Neptune, and Uranus is sextile to Neptune, so is Pluto. There's a trine between Uranus and Pluto. These guys are all working together for innovation and moving forward with Neptune. The sextile to Neptune, this is extraordinarily brilliant outside of the box thinking. Like there is no box here, right? This is coming straight out of imagination, concepts we've never heard of before, or things that were otherwise considered only spiritual or only fantastical suddenly becoming real because of innovation. Ooh. Once again, that's not happening this week, guys, but that is sort of kind of playing on your ruling dignitary, your mindset, maybe even your optimism. This is very optimistic energy. Uranus is also trine to the new moon, which means innovating the new sense of self or a new phase in your life. Maybe something that will surprise you that you never thought you wanted. It could be even with Uranus, because Uranus is so connected to ancestral energy, that it could be something that's like making a reemergence, the sense of the new and the old. So let's move to the decans. So we know specifically how your natal suns are going to be impacted, Aquarius. If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees, Aquarius, it's in the first decan or group of 10 degrees of Aquarius. So you're Aquarius ones. When it comes to birth dates, this correlates to basically January Aquarians, an estimate between January 22nd and January 30th. Okay. If you're at the cusp, so that is the 21st, 22nd, 23rd of January, your natal suns are conjunct to Pluto and sextile to Neptune, and they will be for a couple more years. So own it and understand the innovation of it all, because there are dynamic and extraordinarily psychic and powerful changes that are happening to you, especially to your level of perception. And I don't think you'll see the world the same way after these next couple of years, because it's awakening those aspects of your capabilities. We also have this week a quincunx to Mercury. So there is a little thorn on the side when it comes to information, irritating, frustrating, but also stimulating to the point of action, or you wanting to take action or know something or understand something differently. Maybe you need more information, but anything with regards to Mercury communications or information or education, you will find extremely stimulating, but also quite frustrating and irritating. It'll make you dig. Aquarius 2s. Aquarius 2s. Let me go back to Aquarius 1s. This could, because Mercury is just coming out of retrograde and it's just starting to go direct, this could also exacerbate those Mercury retrograde symptoms. So you could be getting a few more aches and pains. If there's health issues, you could also be getting your car not those Mercury retrograde things could basically whiplash you worse than you've had it until now. Just an FYI. If you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Aquarius, then you are Aquarius 2s. This correlates to birthdays between, say, February 1st and the 11th. So, or maybe the 10th, because we have a shortened month in February, don't we? But say the 11th. Your natal suns are sextile to Neptune, long-term sextile. This is brilliant energy. This is so creative. It's more creative than innovative. This is you being able to do something and make something creative. And so let your creativity take over. It'll be beautiful. And this is over the next couple of years, so you don't got to get this done in a year, okay? This is over the next couple of years. You got time. Dedicate yourself to whatever creative projects or inspiration you're gleaning from this beautiful, bright mind. Also, connectivity to faith. Opportunities in faith, or what's considered fantasy, not so much. Then we have a long-term sextile to Chiron, which we talked about before, Aquarius 2s. This is making good on how you've suffered. So being able to use it to make a dynamic change in your life and in other people's lives. That's been going on for a while, and it'll continue to go on for the next year. Then we have a square to Jupiter, which Sun square Jupiter is very optimistic energy. It could be a little overly optimistic, just to let you know. A little bit, getting ahead of myself, a little big-headed here. But ultimately, it is very invigorating and optimistic energy where we want to expand ourselves. We want to grow. Just don't grow beyond your capabilities. Expand your capabilities by starting what you're capable with and then move from there. The thing with any more contentious aspect to Jupiter can be you get ahead of yourself and you expect too much, which means it can lead to bigger bouts with disappointments. But if you just sort of go with the flow and remain optimistic, this is a beautiful energy. We also have an opposition to Venus, which can mean some contentiousness when it comes to love and romance, how you feel about yourself, how you feel valued, do you look good, do I feel good, anything like that, or overstimulation when it comes to your sensuality and sexuality, because Venus is square to Jupiter and so is your natal sun, and your natal sun is in opposition to Venus. So you could be stuck in an overindulgent, decadent phase of your life where you're doing things because they feel good, but they're not necessarily going to turn out as good as you think they are. Just an FYI. And then we have a trine to Mars, which is a beautiful energy of invigoration and extra energy and a kind of grace and an easement when it comes to your physicality and your physical self. This is actually probably one of the best interactions with Mars and the Sun, because it means that you're kind of in your body in the right way and you're confident when you move forward, or you're having the courage, just enough courage that you need to be able to go in the direction that you want to go. So overall, actually really beautiful energy, very playful, could be a little excessive. Aquarius 3s. So if you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Aquarius, you guys are Aquarius 3s. This correlates to birthdays between kind of up to maybe the 19th, 20th of February, from like February 12th through like the 19th. Though it could be the 11th through the 19th. I have to look at that more closely. February kind of screws me up, to be honest with you. But right up to like, say, yeah, the 20th of February. Your natal suns are square to Uranus, which is difficult because it is your ruling dignitary. So it can almost put you at odds with a part of you, with the dynamic parts of you, with the innovative parts of you, with the part of you that wants to stake its claim to its own identity. And feeling restricted or confined, it would just be more exacerbated with you guys. This feeling of, I must assert my own individuality, who I am, or who am I? I gotta find myself. I need space, I need room, I need time. I want change to who I am, and maybe change to my life. So this could really impact your relationships as well. This is long term, so buckle up. We also have a sextile to the North Node, which is, it means you're moving forward. You want progress, and you're much more comfortable in actually finding opportunities in things that you never thought you'd find opportunities in. You didn't even feel comfortable with them at one point. But the trine to the South Node really helps that out, because it means you've so much accepted or found comfort in your talents, your skills, and where you came from, that you're willing and capable of trying things that are dynamically or diametrically different from those. And you will feel yourself changing. We also have a quincunx to the sun and a quincunx to this new moon that we'll have on the 14th. So that is definitely going to put that spur in your side, like really impact you to push you forward so that you get going, especially on the new sense of self, the new you, to get yourself unstuck. And anything that's making you feel stuck will be super exaggerated, and you'll want to attack it right away. I don't know if you should attack it right away. I don't mean physical attack, of course. I mean, you'll want to acknowledge it right away. You'll want to acknowledge where the discomfort is, not question it, acknowledge it, and then look at, okay, what do I actually need to do about this? And I'm not going to get it done today on the new moon, but I'll definitely start, because it's got to happen. It's got to happen now. It's got to start now. So you let me know in the comments below, Aquarius, how this energy's been impacting you. If you love this video, then please share it with somebody you think would love it too. Help the channel grow. Remember to subscribe if you hadn't, and like this video so YouTube knows it's popular. I love you guys so much. I invite you to come over to Born Without Boundaries Tarot for your week ahead tarot card reading, and I will see you guys in the videos. Bye.